special edition of the Boardroom Podcast, live from Meridian, Mississippi. I'm joined with Ward 1 Alderman Natalie Lynch, and then Ward 5 Alderman Beth Ross, and we're here in the hotel in the Meridian to bring you a live podcast. We're going to talk about several different things, but Natalie, you want to say hello?
Hey, Chad. Thanks for having us. I'm excited to be a part of the podcast tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you
Beth,
very much.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. We're here at the 3 Foot Hotel.
3 Foot Hotel, that's
which
right.
is a very historic building in Meridian, Mississippi, and we thought we would bring it live to you and give you a little information on why we're here and what we're doing.
Yeah, so we're at the small MML, which is Mississippi Municipal League conference here at the historic 3 Foot Hotel, I believe is what it's called, here in Meridian, Mississippi, and we're here learning about. This morning we went to a class about economic development. You want to talk about that a little bit, Natalie or Beth, one of y'all?
Well, the economic development, they were basically just talking about what's the difference and what does it mean for economic development for your community. In Hernando, we are very fortunate. You know, we look at all of the cities across the state of Mississippi. We look at their size. We look at the challenges that they have. And we in Hernando are so fortunate to not have issues with, first of all, we're a very growing community. I know that's controversial for a lot of old Hernandoans, which that's what I am. I've been in Hernando since 1964.
64.
Yes, I'm an old one. I'm an old one. But the thing is, my parents moved to Hernando when I was 7 weeks old in 1964, so y'all can all do the math. But other than that...
It means about 37, 38.
Exactly. I might be in my late 40s. But anyway, the thing is, we look at economic development. We look at where our thoroughfares are getting to Hernando, from Hernando, and everywhere around us. So when we come to these meetings, we look at and compare all these other cities that are smaller than us, and they are not flourishing like we are. So when we look at what can we do better compared to what they can do better, we're such at an advantage. And I hate to say it like that, but we are at an advantage because we're I-55, we're 51.
269?
Yes, I-269. We are so fortunate that we have such growth in Hernando, South Haven, in the DeSoto County area that some of these other counties in Mississippi do not have. So when we're looking at economic development as a whole, we're looking at what do cities want in their communities. They want stores. They want shops. They want multitudes of opportunities for their communities to grow. We are experiencing that now in Hernando, and a lot of people don't understand that part of it, but we don't reach out to companies and say, hey, come look at us. We want an Aldi, we want a Chick-fil-A, or whatever we want to do.
Are you saying that we're going to go to Chick-fil-A?
No, I'm not saying we're going to. I'm just saying that because of our size, these type of chains look at Hernando to see if they can flourish in our city. So it's out of our control. You cannot sit there and control who someone sells their land to and what they can develop on it other than basic building guidelines, and they have to stay within those guidelines.
So if it's already zoned a certain way, then
correct,
that type of building can go where it's already zoned.
Right.
For example, the Dunkin' Donuts and the Whataburger, which people are questioning, but those were already zoned, and those type of businesses were acceptable in that zoning, and so they're allowed to go there, and they have to follow our building guidelines and our design guidelines and that sort of thing.
Right. And so a lot of people don't understand that. We're not shutting people down from coming to Hernando. We encourage people to come to Hernando, but we want it to be the right growth in the right locations at the right time. So that is what we learn at a lot of these small town conferences and at these conferences that we go to throughout the state of Mississippi in the MML, which is Mississippi Municipal League type conferences. It gives us opportunities to reach out to other cities. What are they doing that works? What are they doing that's not working? What can we do to improve and control growth? It's all a learning process.
We also see all these different cities around Mississippi, and, we see that most of our biggest problems is how to control traffic and how to control the growth in the infrastructure. And when I meet other people from around the state, I realize that, like those are good problems to have, because other cities, most of the cities in the state are dealing with things along the lines of, they didn't have a grocery store nearby. We learned about one today that Mark's,
Mississippi.
Yeah.
They went for a while where the closest grocery store was 18 miles away. So, I'm glad that we are dealing with the problems that we're dealing with, and not things like not being able to get our groceries.
So one thing that Ben and I, when we do the podcast, we talk about the DeSoto County bubble or the Hernando bubbles, is people don't realize when we talk about the state of Mississippi in general, you're talking about an area that's most of the time economically depressed or has some issues. In that economic development class we talked about today, one of the gentlemen talked about, I think he's a town of 1,800 or something like that, and he was talking about not having the amount of employees to even attract a large, investment to his city. And so they're having to go out and look at the regional area to even get enough people to even
In the county.
even county, and even
Right.
even larger than the county to get a development big enough to hey, we can provide those workers, and we just don't have those problems in Hernando and DeSoto County. We're able to say, hey, we have a workforce that's available. We have a workforce that has the educational requirements to develop something. That's how we're able to attract a business like AWG. We have the Kroger Marketplace, which is just, a lot of people don't give that enough credit for what we're able to provide there. So, we don't have those, we're not contesting on what business can come
Right.
to Hernando. We're able to choose and pick and choose and maybe decide what's best for Hernando, and not just, hey, whatever can come and pick that. Does that make sense, I guess?
Yeah, and basically the way it looks too. So our planning department, I will give them
they do a
extreme
great job.
kudos. They do a
Austin and them
great job.
Fabulous job.
Everybody in our planning department does a great job. We all work together very well. We are truly becoming a fine-oiled machine. But the thing is, we've had some issues in the past with, not having enough employees and, not having the right people in the right places. We all work well together. We communicate well. We want the best for the city of Hernando. I'm from Old Hernando. And when I say I'm from Old Hernando, like I said, my parents moved to Hernando when I was 7 weeks old. I was a part of Hernando when there were 2,500, 3,000 people in Hernando. I've seen all the changes. I want good changes. I want Hernando to look appropriate and blend in and not be mismatched buildings and things that just really do not fit the structure that we're wanting, and just are not aesthetically pleasing to everyone that's here. Growth is essential, and it is going to happen. But when we come to these conferences, we feel so fortunate to be in Hernando, and that we have the opportunities that we have, and we're not facing the downfalls that some of these other Mississippi towns are facing. And, I looked at Natalie today in a meeting. I looked at Chad. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, we're so blessed to not have these issues that we're facing. And I said, the bottom line is growth is going to happen, but we just want it to be the right growth in the right places. And it just, complement our city.
One thing, Natalie, I don't know how you thought about this, but when the economic development class, she mentioned that I think 10% of the cities in Mississippi are less, or excuse me, 10% of the cities in Mississippi are more than 10,000 people.
Right.
And then also they did a survey, I think, of 750 cities, and the number one thing that most people thought in their city was infrastructure problems. So I think most cities are the same. They want their streets better.
Well, in that same study, they said that 50% or more of the cities were less than 1,000 in population.
Right.
So we have a lot of really small.
Yeah, we're so unique, and
Yes.
with a city of 7,000 and whatever 35 or whatever the number. Well, I can't remember exactly. I think it's 17,035 people, 38 people, whatever it is. And we're just so unique in that we're continuing to grow year over year, decade after decade. We're continuing to grow.
Just to give you kind of statistics, this is the Mississippi State Extension Service statistics. This is not Natalie, Chad, and mine statistics. These come from the Mississippi State Extension Service. Their website gives data. The state of Mississippi websites give data. This is hardcore data on where we are as a state.
That's right. I mean, I will have to say, at all of these conferences we've been to, the Mississippi State Extension Service, they go above and beyond on their classes and their data and their ideas and their creativity and everything. And I know I'm an Ole Miss fan, but got to give a little props to Mississippi State. They do a really good job with helping cities out and helping people
They get
grow.
those land grants now. That's what it is. Land grants.
They're very good at what they do.
Oh, you're
They are.
a state fan too. So
I'm a Delta State
I know
fan.
Ben's a big state guy.
I'm a Delta State statesman, that is.
But your husband Ben, he's a big state
yeah,
guy.
he's a graduate and an alumni. But other than that,
And like that survey showed, I mean, one of the things that I think you guys too ran on was a big issue was improving our infrastructure, potholes and things like that.
Right.
We've all done a very good job of improving that over the last 4 years.
We've done
or 3
a
years.
lot of street paving.
Yeah,
We've done a
You
lot
know,
of
I
street
think I
paving.
think we've invested over $7-8 million since we've been on the board.
We have.
and
Yeah,
doing
which is
that-
more than
Yeah.
was done for
Oh,
years
the
prior.
last 10
Right.
years before we
right.
were on the board.
And we're
Right.
continuing and
Yeah.
that's our focus.
But I'm
We
saying
have
that's
many
the
focus.
number one issue that in that survey she talked about. The number one issue people were in towns throughout Mississippi. The number one issue she said that I think over 500 cities talked about was improving their infrastructure issues. So that's an issue that no matter what size of your city, the infrastructure problems are going to be your number one concern. And we've tried to address that. We spent a lot of our budget money into those. We have the internet sales tax, and we've pretty much put all that plus some into improving infrastructure. And I think that's something that I don't know if we get enough credit for, but we certainly have done that, and people see that. I think when we were leaving town on Tuesday, I think Center Street there, right in front of the Baptist Church, was being paved, and we have a long list of things that are going to be paved here. Excuse me, it's going to be paved before the plant shut down this year. That I think is a big deal for people. People see that. So.
that's
Right.
true. And we're fortunate that we have had that internet sales tax since we've been around. We've also had some ARPA funding that
Yeah, people need
we've
to keep
been
buying
able.
from Amazon, right, man?
That's right. I mean, keep shipping stuff to your house.
I know
and
my wife does. For
and
sure. She loves Amazon.
I participate in Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you met a guy
myself.
from Amazon last night.
I
think.
did. We did meet a guy.
Yeah.
He's
He's
that's
from
when
Macomb.
That's
Yeah, he
right.
works for
He's
Amazon.
an alderman at Macomb. Or
Yeah, but
councilman.
yeah.
He's a selectman.
he's a selectman. They have a
What is
different
a
form of
selectman?
government.
What's
They
a
get
selectman?
different so he told us all about it, Beth. So in Macomb, they have a selectman. There's only 6 of them, and the mayor doesn't have the opportunity to vote unless it's a tie.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So you can see
And
throughout our
Macomb is
state.
just south of Jackson.
Right, yes, I know where Macomb is. But the thing is, so many different variations of these cities and these structures in these cities. You've got city councilmen, you have aldermen, alderwomen.
Selectmen.
You have selectmen, which I guess I hadn't heard that one.
It's, I don't think it's very common.
Okay, well, that one was different. But I mean, it depends on the size of the city.
Well, so
And the
you can
population.
choose. So you can choose. So we have what we call the code form of government, which is what's in the Constitution, and then cities can then change. Like the city of Jackson, Mississippi, they have their own form of government. Vicksburg has their own form of government. There's several different cities that have their own, which is a little different than what we have. We have the code form, which is what most cities do, like
Right.
South Haven. So it's kind of, and some people would argue that it's not very effective because you have a weak mayor system or whatever. But I think
It's very interesting, though, if you go throughout the cities in Mississippi, if you were ever interested in even knowing how these cities within our state are run.
yeah, there's some different ones.
It's very interesting.
Like Beth, one example is like Gaucher. They have an elected mayor, but then they appoint a city administrator who pretty much serves as the mayor, and the mayor is just simply the kind of, he goes to the ribbon cutting and things like that. That's all he does. He doesn't really have.
it promotes the city.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes,
he's not really an executive.
Sort of a figurehead.
Yeah,
type
that's right.
thing.
It's figurehead, exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. I mean, since we were elected, because Chad, Natalie, and I were all elected in 21.
That's right. We took office in July of 21.
July of 21, it has been so enlightening. And this is the reason why I ran. The reason why I ran was because I wanted to know more about city government and know how I could improve my city that I grew up in. And so, and I know that's what Natalie and Chad wanted to do too. And the thing is, it is very interesting, and it's a part of what we do every single day. It's not just handling phone calls and doing this and doing that, but we're balancing budgets and being sure that our employees are happy and they are paid at a level that's competitive within our region. That's that we're competing with in DeSoto County and outside of DeSoto County. And so it is, I mean, there's a lot more to it. And we all three have other jobs outside of this. So
You mean tell me that this is not a full-time job?
it is a full-time job, but we do have other jobs outside of
You
this.
get paid overtime?
No, we don't get paid overtime.
No, we don't.
All right.
We don't get paid overtime. It is public record what we make. So
So I think one thing we ought to do, Beth and Alex, since y'all have not been on our podcast, this is a worldwide famous podcast. We get, 25, 30 views on this podcast, okay? Very famous. So do you want to kind of introduce yourself and talk about yourself just for a second? Beth, you want to go first?
what am I going to talk
Yeah,
about?
Beth Roan Ross, Ward 5 Alderman. You want to talk about kind of where you're from and how you ended up in this position, what you do for a living, or?
Live in Edgewood subdivision, which is the very far tip of Ward 5. I've lived there for almost 23 years with my husband. We have 3 sons and a granddaughter and a grandson on the way in December.
Are you a grandmother?
I'm a grandmother. And so I'm up there. Anyway, I work in investments. I'm an advisor with
that's right.
investments. That's my first job, and my second job, which I can't put them in order of 1 and 2 because they're both equally important to me. I'm a resident of Hernando, and I support and stand up and speak for the residents of Ward 5.
Sure.
And I want to make the decisions that are in the best interest of Ward 5 and for the city, all over the city, not just Ward 5.
Right.
And
So people know Ward 5 is essentially. Or do you have kind of the AT&T store south on that side of town? Right. Basically.
Ward 5 has changed a little bit because
Yeah.
we've grown further east.
But you're right. You and Ben kind
Mount
of share
Pleasant-
that area right there.
Well, Mount Pleasant Road.
Yeah. Me and you butt up against each other right there at Mount Pleasant.
Actually, the house that my parents built on Mount Pleasant Road
Okay.
is in Ward 5, and I
Okay.
grew up there, which is ironic. But I go all the way down to the bridge on Mount Pleasant on the right-hand side.
Okay, on the right-hand side, right?
On the right-hand side. The
like
left-
Ellen Jerning used to live, and then there's the house with that's for
Right.
sale and just recently got
Right.
off.
So the left-hand side, for the most part, is Ward 4, which is yours.
Yes, right. Yeah, we used to have some of that, and we just recently redistricted.
We've recently redistricted. We haven't applied all that redistricting yet.
Yeah.
Change in population numbers, not to like get too confused.
Yeah, there's a centrist centrist district right there, a centric that she has to, she still got a touch right there, don't you?
And what we're trying to do with this redistricting is we are required by law to change some of the guidelines of how many people are in each ward, because we cannot have a certain percentage over when
That's right. I think
in
it's
one
about
ward or the other 10%.
10%.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
10%. Yes.
For example, Ward 1 happened to, after the census.
Yeah, we bump
Ward
each other
1
on this side. That's right.
was the biggest ward in the city. And so I had to lose,
A little bit.
and other wards had to gain to make it all less than 10%.
And I had to do the same. So we're going to conform more of Ward 5 into Ward 4 for Wallace Johnson, because it makes more sense to keep it more.
We call
to
it
keep
Deer Creek now. We call it Deer Creek now.
Oh, is it Deer
I
Creek?
mean, Beth, we call it Deer Creek.
Well, in my
Well, I think
day,
there's still sections that
we
are
don't call
one
it
and the
Wallace
other.
Johnson. That's an old
In
school
my
Hernando.
But I
day-
like that. I like
in
the
my
old
day, it
school.
was Wallace
It was.
Johnson. Okay.
I'm going to still call it that.
Yeah, in my day it was Wallace Johnson, but the thing is, we're trying to keep neighborhoods together so it's
That's right.
not as confusing.
Absolutely, we are.
Which is
Right.
confusing. In Montclair splits Ward 1 and 2. But at the same time, where we do like to keep the neighborhoods together, we have to go by census block, which is
right.
not defined by us. That's defined by the U.S.
Census
government.
Bureau. That's right.
Right.
And so sometimes we want to keep them together, but the census block doesn't allow us to. And so we try our best, but in some cases, like as in Montclair, we just can't do it. But for the most part,
Natalie, you
do
want to
what
talk
we
about?
can.
So you're the District 1 or excuse me, I keep saying district ward alderman, Ward 1 alderman, and you want to talk about your kind of
So
your path to Hernando.
I'm
and-
Ward
and-
1. My path, let's see, I'm from Meridian, which is where we're sitting. I was actually born just a few blocks away
And
from.
by the way, this is a cool city. I've never been to
This-
Meridian.
It is neat.
And I thought this
It's
city
beautiful.
was like half the size. This is a nice
It's
city.
beautiful.
I've really been impressed with
Meridian it's a great city. I'm proud to be born here. My parents were both born here. My sisters and I, like I said, we could see the hospital where I was born from the rooftop
Yeah.
of this hotel. So it's pretty cool, and I'm happy to be back. I'm always
Did you get to
happy
see
to
your
be
church
back here.
you went to?
I did
You went
go
to
to my
First,
church.
First Baptist of Meridian, right?
Central Methodist,
Central Methodist.
United
Ah, okay. I
Methodist
got
is
you. Okay.
where I went. I stopped by there today.
Kindergarten,
so
right?
I did preschool at the First Baptist
Oh, okay.
Church.
That's where I got to First Baptist.
That's
from.
right. But I attended Central United Methodist. So I was in Meridian through my elementary years, and then I moved to Jackson, did junior high and high school, graduated from there. Went to Ole Miss, met my husband Josh, and that's how I ended up in
Put Josh's
Hernando.
last name out there. Everybody knows the Lynches. Put
Josh Lynch.
Yeah.
Josh Lynch.
Mama Lynch was our when I went to high school, Mama Lynch was in charge of all the Diamond Girls.
That's
Everybody
right.
knows, everybody
She
knows Miss Lynch.
was.
She was a great lady.
So the Lynches have been in Hernando for a while, and the three boys, they all graduated from Hernando, and so they were involved in baseball, and their family's just always been, doing good stuff around town.
Sure, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be a part of the Lynch family, and
Yeah.
I've been here for over 20 years now, and I enjoy serving Ward 1. I really think of the alderman position as service, and I just enjoy, helping people out and working with my constituents and, making Hernando a better place to live for everybody.
And Natalie and I
totally
served
agree.
Natalie and I served on the planning commission there for a little while together.
Yeah.
So that's how we first met. And then Ward 1 is essentially, down Oak Grove, Montclair a little bit. Go
I
ahead and talk
kind of
about that.
take like the whole western side of the city. So I go from south to north. I go from Montclair, Oak Grove area. I live in Oak Grove myself, and we hug the whole
You're
west
big
side.
on for the roundabout, right? You like the roundabout?
You know,
What are you laughing at? We
I
love a
am-
roundabout.
I'm okay with
you
the
pro roundabout?
I am, because I drive up Oak Grove multiple times a day, and I sit at that stop sign
That's right.
a lot. And so I will be happy to just continue moving.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
You know, we'll have some growing pains when we
It's
are
going to be
constructing
interesting.
that.
It'll be fine.
But I will just probably take an alternate route those few months. But I'm looking forward to just
Well, we learned
keep
the other day
moving.
that we were in a process of buying the right of ways there, so that hopefully we'll have that.
Yeah.
And that
Maybe
is an
construction start.
MDOT.
Yeah,
That is an MDOT decision, not
right.
the
Yes.
city.
That is true.
Senator Mike McClellan got us some money for that, and hopefully we will be able to start construction maybe in the spring, so we can get that
That's
done by the
right.
summer. So
And you're correct, Beth. It is an MDOT, because Highway 51 is a state highway.
That's right.
We are facilitating the construction. We're facilitating the engineering, but we
under their guidelines.
that's right.
essentially.
We don't as a city get a choice on what is
Is going there. Yes.
So the roundabout it is, and
Yes.
so we're looking forward to some
We will conform.
better traffic.
We will conform. It'll be fine.
What?
That's
Confirm.
Conform.
Conform.
Conform will be fine. I'm fine with roundabouts because I want one at Mackinville and Holly Springs, and so
and-
We've got that.
we have it in the budget.
the plan.
Put
We
that
have
in
it
the
in the-
budget. So
we
are
have it
you
in the-
making an announcement, Beth? Make the announcement.
I'm just saying we've got it in the budget. We have it budgeted for the 23-24 fiscal year of
I
the
think
city of Hernando.
That will be.
He's making an announcement, I think. Now.
That's well. It's
It sounds to me like Beth Ross just made an announcement that we're getting a roundabout at Holly Springs and
We
and
have-
we
Mackinville.
have said it.
proposed it.
Proposed.
And we have budgeted for it. And our city engineer has done all of the background studies on why it's needed and why that is the best choice for that location, and not stop signs or red lights or anything else in that curve.
And
It
on
is a
serious
dangerous
note,
curve.
We have studied that curve. We've looked
For
at that.
years.
Yeah, I know
Yes.
that's a big thing that that Beth has looked at, and Joe Frank Lauderdale, our city engineer, has looked at, and he has made the recommendation to put a roundabout there, and so we have committed the funds to do that, and hopefully we have that done. The engineering and so forth done in the next
It's
18 months or
probably
so.
one. I mean, me personally, Natalie's on the far west. I'm on the far east.
That's right.
She's Ward 1. I'm Ward 5. We're like the furthest points from one another.
That's true.
But the needs are a lot of the same.
Yeah, Hernando has a huge
Yeah.
need for infrastructure improvement.
Yes, and
There's
I
no
think
question
that's
about that.
probably one of the best locations for a roundabout that I could come up with. A lot of people are negative; they don't want them.
Well, you
They're
can't worry about the
different.
negative.
Well,
but
with that
yeah, they're
tight
different.
curve,
It's-
that
it's ve-
90-degree curve,
We
is
can't
also
figure out anything else.
the offshoot of
Right.
Mackinville going south.
Right.
It is the roundabout. I think, especially there, is going to be a great asset.
Yeah, it's going to keep traffic moving. As we know that the school traffic gets backed up there a lot. But one thing we have to remember is a lot of times the private sector can move faster than the public sector. They're able to build subdivisions a lot faster, and we're able to improve the infrastructure. And so we're playing catch up. I think our board has done a good job of investing in infrastructure. We've made, like we talked about earlier, $7-8 million in improvements. We're continuing to invest in that, and I think the citizens of Hernando will see a big difference here in the next 18 months or so. We'll see a roundabout there. We'll see a roundabout in your ward, in Oak Grove, and 51. We're looking at some type of traffic signal at 51 and Parkway in my ward. There's just a lot of issues that we're trying to address, and it costs money. It's very expensive to do that.
It does cost money,
expensive.
and the city a lot of people, like say you've got something wrong with your driveway or your yard or whatever, you go and get someone to fix it immediately. city government works so much slower.
Yeah, we have to get
very
bids.
slow.
It's
we have
so
to get
much
bids,
slower. We have to have
engineer
bids.
projects. Just for example,
There's
so
a lot of legal
this
aspects
is
in
something
having
Mike,
it happen.
Mike McClellan is a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours, Beth. I know. I think you too, Natalie. But I talk to Mike pretty regular. He has been working on the intersection at 51 Oak Grove for 3 years.
We appreciate Mike so much
Yes,
as our
he's-
District 1
he has
senator
called
from
me
Mississippi.
about that. He's got
Yes.
money, every year for us that, and we finally have enough money to do that. That just is how long it takes to get things done through the public.
It takes a long time.
Public sector or the government to do things. It just takes that money to get money advanced, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done this year. And there's some other issues. As soon as we get that done, we're always very concerned about the intersection at 55 in Commerce. We're working with John Caldwell, our northern public service
Transportation Commissioner.
Commissioner to get that done. He's promised us we're trying to get that done. So there's just so many issues that we have in Hernando, and we're trying to address them just as quick as we can.
That's one thing I've learned since being on the board is that, I would like things to move faster, but I've learned that as long as we are moving forwards, we are getting things done. We may be taking very small steps, but as long as those steps are still going in the right direction, then we're good. I wish we could move more quickly, but it just does not move fast.
Yeah, government's very slow because there's so many legal protocols to have to go through, and the general public does not truly understand that. I didn't understand it either. So, just tune into one of our meetings. The second.
City of Hernando,
actually,
the YouTube page.
Yeah, YouTube page, City of Hernando YouTube page, the first and third Tuesdays.
Planning Commission's the second Tuesday.
And the Planning Commission is the second Tuesday. So if you're just interested in just seeing how things work and you don't have the time to come to a meeting at 6 o'clock on those days at City Hall, tune in. It's very interesting. Some of it could be kind of boring, but it still gives you the idea.
Most of it's kind of boring, but we try to be as transparent. I think we're the most transparent government in the state of Mississippi. We have this little podcast we do, me and Ben, and you guys are on here tonight. And then also all our meetings are on YouTube. I mean, we put things out. I mean, I know, Natalie, you share things about every meeting on your Facebook page, and anything we accomplish or things we do, we put out there.
I know several of us, we'll post the agenda.
Absolutely. And so,
I really recommend that, at minimum, our citizens will, you can sign up for email alerts with our City of Hernando website, and you will be emailed the agenda. I know several of us posted on our Facebook pages. Please read the agenda, and if it has anything, that you feel has any importance to you, tune in to the YouTube.
Absolutely.
Watch it live.
Or even
watch
that.
it the recorded version.
We're all accessible, so if you have a question,
Give us a call.
And what I always say is, hey, reach out to your
Send an
Alderperson.
email.
Yeah. Beth, all our information is on the website at cityofhernando.org.
I think we're all very responsive.
Oh, yeah. There's no question about that.
If you email or call any of us, I think I can speak for everyone and say we will respond.
Absolutely.
And we will get back in touch with you.
Beth, you like speed bumps, all right?
I don't like speed. My car does not like speed bumps, but I think they are effective in certain areas.
I've ridden with you before. You don't like a speed bump. Your car don't. I'm as fast as you
Well,
drive.
I got a little heavy foot, but I mean, a lot of people in Hernando have a little heavy foot. But the thing is, we're all human. We're all human, and we have to look out for our subdivisions, for our subdivisions that have a lot of children at play.
Sure.
We've put up several stop signs. We've got children at play signs that are ordered. And
What's the subdivision over there by Lee Summit Park? Is that Lee Summit? Is that thing?
that's Lee Summit.
I know they've had some issues. They complain about people cutting through.
Well, they've opened up Lee Summit from McInville all the way through Summit Drive and all the way through to Commerce. Now, I know it's in the works to open Commerce all the way to Jaybird.
That's right, yeah.
So that is not happened yet, but it should be. Maybe our planning department said possibly spring by the time.
And that's the county doing
That's
that.
the
correct?
county
I know
doing
that-
that.
yeah,
We don't have control over that, but that's given that extra cut through. and try to alleviate traffic off of Holly Springs and McInville there, coming around.
Just so people understand. So you're saying
Yeah.
that people will be able to drive from Commerce all the way to Jaybird, and if they want to, they can take a right-hand turn. I'm not sure the street, but get to Holly Springs that way. Is that right?
It's Monteith.
Monteith, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is,
I know you work very hard for your constituents over there to help them.
well, the thing is, when you have a city street that has been dead end
Sure.
for all these years, and those are legally open and available to be a through city street if the development calls for it.
So you're saying
That's
that
what happened.
when the people purchased a property that was a dead end, and now since we've had a developer come in and then develop that neighborhood, now it cuts all the way through.
Yes,
It
the
starts
developer
out as a
finished
dead
it.
end.
You've had some of that in your area,
But
too.
most of the time, it is always planned to be a through street.
Sure, yeah, but people don't realize that when they buy the property.
Well,
I think.
It's because most of our neighborhoods, they're connected, and so there may be a dead end, but when the land gets developed, then it connects to another neighborhood, which does cause, there are multiple places around town that people use as cut-throughs in residential areas.
absolutely.
I know like Lakes of Cedar Grove is a big cut-through for people getting to the middle school and high school.
I don't know anything
Right.
about that. I don't know
West
anything about
Valley
that.
Street and Elm Street are big cut-throughs for people not wanting to hit the light at the square at 51 and Commerce. Those are just a couple. And as far as speed bumps go, they would probably be prime areas that a speed bump could go to maybe.
And if people looked at our last meeting, we're looking at update, maybe changing that. We've had, I think, 15 people put in for speed bump applications, and they were denied because of different reasons. So we're looking at that. Maybe
We're
we need-
reevaluating those and what caused those to be denied. So with the changes, because with any new ordinance, and a lot of people are like, that's government overreach, that's just too much. I understand that, but the thing is, when you're looking at an ordinance, you've got to have some type of control. You can't just have speed bumps pop up all over the city. So we want to have some conditions that are met before it is even considered for that area. With traffic, with possible accidents. Now, I don't want to see accidents. I don't want to have an accident because that means someone was harmed.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No one wants that. But the thing is, we want to consider so many different things. In the way the current speed bump ordinance was written, it was pretty stringent, but we are going to look at a few things and say, hey, is it maybe okay for this location of the 14 that were sent to us or the Planning Commission that didn't meet the criteria, and maybe the board, fire and police, because that is huge. Fire and police, that's a very important factor in how they travel to an emergency. Is it going to be a hindrance? So we have to look at all of that. There's a lot more to it than you just want to stop speeders in your neighborhood. We want emergency vehicles to be able to get there safely and effectively and not tear up city equipment and, all that happens in the meantime. So the thing is, there's a lot that goes with this. So with any ordinance, with the food truck or if it's with the speed bump,
Sound.
The noise. That's right. Well, I think that
sound, we're all open.
we have to start somewhere.
Right. We're
Yeah.
all, yes.
And then what we're trying to do with any ordinance that we've passed, and if there's any old ones that need to come up, we start with what we think is a good idea, and then we take some data, and if we need to change it, we can change it. It's not just set in stone when it gets passed.
Correct. And we're trying to do the best for the citizens of Hernando. We're trying to keep up with the changing times, with the growing city. We're just trying to do the best we can. So we're welcoming all of your input. Reach out to your alderman. Reach out to me, Ward 5. Reach out to Chad, Ward 4. Reach out to Natalie, Ward 1. Reach out to Andrew, Ward 2. We've got Bruce Robinson, Ward 3, and we've got Ben Piper, Ward 6, and we've got
Don't mention Ben. Ben, he's too cool for us.
no, we've got Alderman at Large, Doc
laugh at
Harris, and
I would
please
love-
reach out to our mayor. We are all a good team.
Yes.
We are working in the betterment of Hernando. We want to hear
Yeah.
your thoughts, your concerns, and we want to do better.
Well, one
We
thing
need
go ahead.
the citizen input. We want the citizen input. We want y'all
Correct.
to tell us. We want you to contact us and tell us specifically what you think Hernando needs and what we might need to change.
One thing that I think is cool about our board is we're able, if we make a decision on something and somebody comes back with some information that we may not, we made the wrong decision, we're not scared to say, hey, you're right, let's change that, let's do what we
That's
think is
right.
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 And that I think that's something that you don't see a lot in government, is people admitting, hey, we may not have made the bad decision at first, and like you said, Natalie, we're making the best decision that we can with the information we have at the time. And if somebody provides something to us at a different time, we've shown time and time again, if that's with the noise ordinance or with the speed bumps or with the food truck ordinance, we're hey, you're right, that makes sense. Let's make a change. Let's tweak it a little bit. Let's do what's best for the citizens of Hernando, and I'm very proud to serve on a board that does that.
That's right. I think we work together and we want to work with the people, and we are all just diligent about, we want the best for Hernando.
And I believe that. I mean, I think everybody that serves on that board that I serve on, the 7 people you mentioned, Beth, we all want what's best for Hernando, and that's great to work on a team that believes that way.
I want to reiterate this. I mean, we're residents and citizens of Hernando too. We're no different than you are. We just chose to run for a city position in our ward where we're carved out in the city just to try to do better. We're no different than you are.
Yeah, we're not smart. I don't think we're claiming to be smarter than anybody or anything like that. We're just trying to do what's best. Like, Beth has been a resident here since she was 4 years old or whatever, 3 years old or whatever.
An infant.
An infant. Excuse me, I'm
2
sorry.
months old.
2 months
Excuse
old.
me.
I'm sorry, 2 months old.
Let's not get crazy now.
Now, Natalie's a transplant, but we'll take her. She's
I'm
been
not
here for a
too
while.
much more of a transplant than you, Chad, right? Whoa. What year did you
Shots
move
fired.
here? What year did you move here?
I've been here since 7th grade, whatever.
Which is what year?
You make me date myself. I'm scared to do that.
I'm
Hey,
asking.
I'm a young man.
I'm asking. What year was that?
So I just spoke to the 6th graders, and I think so. I moved here in 1997, I think.
97. Okay, so I'm 2003. So I'm not.
So I graduated high school in 2000.
Okay,
So
well,
we were,
I'm 6 years past.
Yeah, we were toilet paper.
behind you.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is this, just like one of the cities brought up today, I thought it was kind of funny. They were talking about in a meeting, like the old residents. And
Sure.
the old residents,
Share that example. That was something.
That was a good example.
it was a
yeah.
good example. And they were like judging people on how long they had lived in their city. And someone had stood up before the board and they had only been in the city for like 23 years. They were not considered old city residents.
They were a transplant.
They were a
at
transplant.
23 years.
So nobody respected their decisions.
And they didn't respect their decisions or even their ideas. And so I was like, that's crazy. That's so much like Hernando. There's old Hernando and there's new Hernando. We're all Hernando. Whether you've been here 6 months, whether you've been here 6 years, whether you've been here 65 years, the bottom line is we're all here trying to do the same thing.
That's right.
And it was just kind of funny that they brought this up in this small town meeting, which is a smaller town than us, but they were downgrading the people that someone that had been here 23 years and they didn't want to listen to their comments.
Yeah, they were trying to bring a business into that city, and
Right.
they'd only been here 23 years.
Right,
And
that's
the people
not-
who had been here long, this person's not
yeah.
been here long enough to bring stuff to our city.
They're not legitimate enough to have that type of, I guess,
We
information to bring to the city that we're going to listen to. I was like, that's crazy. We don't need to be like that. No. What's the purpose of having a food truck ordinance is what's the
Hernando
most
is a
important
growth
thing that people
mainly-
don't
I
understand.
think the last
Well,
census said
we wanted
17,000. We all agree it's probably more than
It's
that.
been an
We're
issue
probably
on
closer
social
to
media.
20,000 now.
Yeah.
And
So
maybe
people
more
were
than that.
not.
We have
We
some
have food
serious
trucks in the
issues as far as
past.
our infrastructure.
They may
We
not
have
have
to
had
get
a business
I-55.
license for Hernando, and they didn't
all
have the
agree on
sales
that.
tax for
Commerce
Hernando.
Street.
And
Commerce
so,
Street,
by passing the ordinance,
So,
we're requiring people
in
to
any
apply
way,
for a
so
conditional
we have a
use
lot of issues we
permit,
have to address.
which has to be approved, which means that they will get a put Hernando as one of their sales tax locations. Which, if you have a business, you can have multiple locations for sales tax. And when you file your sales tax, you choose which location your profits came from, and that's like the location that gets your sales tax dollars. So we definitely want to have Hernando as, getting those sales tax dollars and not those going to elsewhere. Also, the business license just keeps us where, we know who's operating in our town.
That's right, and they're following our guidelines.
We had no control. Health department, we had no control. So, I mean, it was something that we were kind of forced into doing. And it is, part of doing business in the city. We just wanted to be sure that we are doing what's in the best interest of our citizens. Yes, we like food trucks. That's a very trendy thing right now.
Well, Beth,
So at our last meeting, we approved 2 conditional use permits.
the first two.
Which we've approved for Vance Daly to have a food truck park adjacent to his law office on his property there on Commerce Street. He can have up to 6 food trucks. Part of that is that he has to provide a bathroom. He's going to add more solid surface parking to his business. Then also the Commerce Street Market, the bagel guy's coming back, which I know a lot of people.
bagel guy?
The bagel guy's coming back.
How did Hernando make it before the bagel guy?
I don't know, and I've
Beth,
never.
you're older than me. I mean, what did y'all do before the bagel guy?
We didn't eat bagels.
I've never purchased a bagel from the bagel guy, but I'm looking forward
At least
to
not
it.
not that good. At least not
I
that
do like
good.
bagels. I was in Jackson
He's
for
got
a
some
while,
good bagels
and
now, I will say.
They
we
melt
had
in your mouth.
We had Beagle Bagel, and
Bagel.
that's where I got some bagels. So I'm
right.
gonna have to try this new bagel guy.
His bagels are legit now, I will say.
No,
So
he's
he's going to
good.
come 4 times a month to Commerce Street Market, and they also asked for a food truck at their location once a month that will probably vary from month to month, I would guess. So I think it'll be a good, interesting new food option for Hernando, and we'll see how. I mean, I know Commerce Street has had things in the past, so I think that's going to be par for the course. But the Daily Food Truck Park, I don't know how that's going to turn out, and so we'll see how that goes, and that'll be interesting to see how that develops and what that'll turn into.
Beth, you have any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, thank you very much for having Natalie and myself on tonight.
Okay.
We thoroughly enjoyed being in Meridian and just being able to experience, one, how fortunate we are to live in Hernando and not having to, we don't encounter the same issues that some of these smaller towns do, but we're constantly learning. When we go to these type of conferences, we are constantly learning how we can do better, how we can improve just the aesthetics of our city for as minimal cost as possible. And I just appreciate you having us on here just
Natalie,
to kind of,
any final thoughts?
describe it, what we're doing.
I also appreciate you having us. These conferences, we learn about grant opportunities. We network. We meet people. It's nice to put like a face to a name. It's beneficial for Hernando to send representatives to these things because these people see us and they see what we're doing, and they continue to, support us and as we support them, and it's just a great thing to see.
Well, sure. Well, thanks for listening to the Boardroom Podcast. I am Chad Wicker, Ward 4 Alderman.
Natalie Lynch, Ward 1 Alderman.
Beth Ross, Ward 5.
Thank you. Now you hear the song.
Waiting on a train.